Let's begin. So welcome everyone. Welcome to the final round of Consultomania, the flagship event organized by OJAS 14. Crowned as the country's 7th biggest B School Fest, OJAS is the flagship management festival of SPJIMR'S Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai, with participation from 100 plus B schools and undergraduate colleges across the country. The fest in its previous edition saw massive participation of over 9,000 plus students registering for 25 events from all domains across 3 days, even when it was virtual. This year, OJAS 14 has crossed 16,000 plus mark in terms of registration with a total of 34 events. From the despair of a disconnected illusory world to coming together in a post-pandemic reality, a promise of change and hope marks the 14th edition of OJAS. Consultomania is a flagship OJAS event for aspiring consultants to get a taste of real-life consulting problems and experience the exhilarating journey of decoding a complex case. After an event spanning 2 rounds, the first one being an online quiz and then executive summary submission round, we are finally left with our 7 national finalists.
I would now like to introduce our esteemed judges. Dr. Shabbir Hussain holds a doctorate from XLRI Jamshedpur and a management degree from IIM Calcutta. He's a professor of marketing at SPJIMR and is the associate program head of PGPM course. Before joining SPJIMR, he had over 16 years of work in organizations including BCG, Tata AIA Life, TCS, and top academic institutions, including IIM Udaipur and IIM Raipur. He has worked on strategy and operations related assignments for firms in telecom, finance, manufacturing, and pharmaceutical sectors, and has also supported companies' planning and budgeting process as part of his role. Next, we have Mr. Rajarshi Mukherjee, an alumnus of SPJIMR PGDM class of 2016. Rajarshi brings with him more than 5 years of work in management consulting, with both Indian and global automotive clients, focusing on growth strategy, operating model design, manufacturing excellence, and product to service space. He's currently working with Accenture Strategy as a consultant. Next, we have Mr. Sriram. He's also an alumnus of PGDM class of 2016. He was a consultant with Accenture Strategy post MBA, specializing in manufacturing and consumer goods. Currently, he is senior manager and part of the corporate strategy team at Sona Comstar, one of India's largest Eevee component manufacturers. Sriram has over 9 years of consulting plus industry experience and deep expertise in the global Eevee industry. I extend a warm welcome to our judges on behalf of Team OJAS 14, and I would request our alums to address the national finalists.
Yeah, thank you, Sitij, for the warm introduction. And I think it's really a pleasure to be here as a part of the judging panel. Really looking forward to the presentation from all the participants and expecting some interesting as well as insightful presentation for even us. We have been in the consulting industry for some time, but it's always a good learning experience from young minds.
Yeah, thanks, Kshitij. Thanks for the warm welcome. Honor to be here. It's good to always be back among the current crop of students. Looking forward to a great discussion. Let's get started.
I would also like to request Dr. Shabbir Hussain to address our national finalists.
Thanks, Kshitij, and many congratulations to all of you. I think being a national finalist itself is a big thing, but I think one would also want to take it to the next step. So I think we are looking forward to this. My only request to you is I think because you have a time crunch, right? This is a very short 7-8 minute kind of a presentation. Normally, what we've noticed is people end up spending quite a bit of time in terms of the introduction or establishing the case. Now, make sure that you utilize this 7-8 minutes well. So the introduction or that part, I think you might want to just skip through that fast and focus more on your analysis, your strategy, your recommendation. So that's in general a guideline, but wish you all the very best and pretty much looking forward to the presentation.
Sure, sir.
Thank you, judges. I feel that these kind and encouraging words are exactly what our national finalists needed at this point. I'm sure all the finalists are now ready to present their solutions to our esteemed judges. With that, I would like to close the inaugural phase of the final round of Consultomania. I would request everyone to listen to the rules carefully. Each team will present their solution in 8 minutes, followed by a Q&A for 5 minutes. We'll show you an indication on chat at 7 minutes. There will be a hard stop at 8 minutes. You are expected to finish in time, as violating it will attract penalties. If you are facing any technical issues, inform us immediately over the chat. So we are good to go now. All the best to everyone. We'll start the first final round of presentations with team All or Nothing from SCM HRD. The stage is all yours, team.
Thank you so much, team. Dikshant, you there?
Yeah. A very good afternoon to all the panelists present. We, the team All or Nothing, are here to present the case study solution for the competition Consultomania. So before initiating the discussion, let's first understand the global perspective of the EV market. The future looks pretty bright for the electric vehicles. By 2040, EV registrations across 46 major markets are predicted to total 114 million, which will be equivalent to 84% of all new passenger car registrations. The legacy car makers like Ford and Volkswagen are pivoting towards the EV sector, partly due to increased government restrictions on IC engines and carbon emissions. Public charging stations are also becoming more commonplace. Furthermore, it is predicted that battery prices will continue to decline, albeit at a slow rate, and reach US dollars 100 per kilowatt by the year 2025, a price point at which EVs will be evenly priced with IC engine cars. However, today, electric vehicles still remain to be a luxury purchase due to their high initial cost, and the diagram on the right top is a testament of that. On the other hand, we have Tesla, which single-handedly revolutionized the EV industry.
The EV opportunities in India are backed by government initiatives like the FAME policy, which provides subsidies on EV purchases. Also, about 50% of the Indian states have policies to promote EVs. Buses, which are a major public transport, are expected to lead the EV adoption segment. It is prudent for India to develop an alternative for lithium-ion batteries, since it is entirely dependent on imports. So aluminium, sodium, and zinc, which are the leading source of alternate power generators, can be looked into. Why would Tesla consider investing in India? Because the EV market in India is expected to grow at 90% CAGR and touch around 150 billion USDs by 2030. And also, India will be the fourth largest EV market by 2040, which presents a very exciting opportunity for Tesla. Next slide.
Yep. Thank you so much, Nikhil. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Tesla, as we all know, is the pioneer when it comes to electric vehicles, and some of its strengths have been the thought leadership that it has been able to achieve in the past few years. The economies of scale, the backward integrated supply chain that they have. But these same issues can prove to be bigger challenges for Tesla in its strategy to enter the Indian market. For example, the the Indian market is very nascent at the time being, even though it is growing at a fast rate. But last year itself, only 5,000 electric cars were sold out of over 2.4 million cars, and lack of local production of components, batteries, as well as insufficient charging infrastructure are some of the major reasons why that is happening. Lack of standardization of the charging chargers is also a major issue when it comes to embracing of this new technology. But let's just address the elephant in the room, which is the pricing issues that Tesla is facing. So last year, Tesla entered the Indian market with the Model 3, which is its most affordable car. However, according to the import duty rules that India has, any imported car with a value of over $40,000 attracts 100% import duty, which means that a car which costs 30 lakhs on the US shows ends up costing over 60 lakhs in India, which puts it right out of the reach of most of the aspiring Indian buyers. Now, apart from these, there are other issues such as insufficient government policies, which are also a major contributor towards the lack of adoption of this technology. Now, the most logical step that we think that Tesla should go ahead with is to negotiate with the government to reduce the import duty, since it just lies at the very boundary line. $40,000 is roughly around 31 lakh rupees. So if it can convince the government to give it a leeway and help reduce that import duty, and if it could launch the Model 3 in India under 40 lakh rupees, that could very much help Tesla analyze the consumer behavior when it comes to electric vehicles and gauge the response that it gets. The next logical step would be based on this response, they can very well think about the future prospect, like how much, to what scale they want to invest in the country, and they could actually think about setting up a factory as well. And then comes the big step about negotiating with the state governments for incentives and factory setup support. Now, while we were thinking about this particular solution, Elon Musk somehow like was a step ahead of us as usual, and basically this is what happened. So Twitter user just candidly asked Elon Musk regarding their plans to enter the Indian market, and Elon Musk basically, these are the things that aren't supposed to be disclosed in public, but he actually confirmed that the company was in talks with the government, and it was facing certain challenges regarding the whole entry strategy. And the resultant was this particular opportunity was pounced upon by various ministers and politicians in India from Telangana, Punjab, Maharashtra, and West Bengal, amongst others, who pitched their states for this huge investment opportunity in front of them. And the resultant was the government is a bit under pressure to actually provide some kind of incentive to the company to open its door. And let's in a hypothetical scenario, if we assume that there is a breakthrough between the government and the company Tesla when it comes to this import duty issue, we propose two strategies which Tesla could come up with to actually rock this particular market. First is we'll be talking about the B2C segment, which is the primary segment, the electric cars, which Tesla focuses on. And we propose a time-tested formula that Indian car owners just love, which is the compact SUV segment. This segment was pioneered pioneered first by Ford EcoSport, and it was perfected by Renault Duster. And over the years, various companies have used this segment as their launch pads to launch their aspirations in India. And the latest example is Kia with its offerings Sonet and Seltos. Now, what we propose Tesla is to launch two models. First is the Model A ZE, which we propose to be priced somewhere around 15 lakh rupees, which puts it right in competition with the most successful electric vehicle in the Indian market that we have, Nexon Eevee. And second, we propose to launch the Model A ZO version, which basically is a better iteration of this model. Now, a logical question arises: how would the company be able to launch such budget friendly models? And the answer to that is basically we propose to suit to the Indian conditions, road conditions, and to appeal to the budget friendly target audience. What we propose Tesla is to forego its state of the art autopilot system, which involves an array of sensors and the whole software and at the back end that comes along with it. And
Guys, sorry to interrupt. If you could just wrap up real fast. It's already one and a half minutes past the time.
Okay, fine. The second strategy that we propose is to basically enter the B2B segment, considering this is a very price sensitive segment, and it also is one of the best selling segment when it comes to electric vehicles. We propose Tesla to launch the versatile modular commercial vehicle, which is basically an innovative multi-purpose last mile delivery electric vehicle that will basically help handle diverse set of cargo, including perishables, non-perishables, liquid, dry bulk, amongst others. And this particularly we propose to launch under the Tesla subscription model. So thank you so much. That's all. Sorry for the delay.
That was an amazing presentation, guys. Now let's head on to the Q&A.
Okay. Can I start? Just one question from my side. I'm sure others will have, but so guys, thanks for the presentation. Can you just go back to the earlier slide where you are talking about Tesla to forego some of its feature? Yeah. Just a question to you guys. As we already know, Tesla leverages a lot of its existing technology to develop the product. So when you say asking them to forego these features and creating a Model A, how exactly will it work? Because many of the processes at Tesla factories are largely automated in my understanding. So are you suggesting that they should alter the assembly layout, or they should change the way the vehicles are assembled, or create a separate line altogether? Because from an idea perspective, it's a novel idea, I understand, but from an execution perspective, don't you think it will be a lot of alteration and changes in their factories?
Thank you so much for the question, sir. Actually, when we say we ask Tesla to forego its state-of-the-art autopilot system, it is basically related to the car. So basically, they have these sensors, lidar sensors, and other sensors which they fit into their vehicles, every vehicle, to activate this feature of autopilot, wherein the car automatically drives through the driveway. So basically, what we, during our primary and secondary research, what we realized was that the Indian road infrastructure is not as evolved as the Western infrastructure to actually support, these advanced systems. And secondly, if Tesla is really, it really aspires to crack the Indian automobile industry, especially in the electric vehicles, it needs to launch in the sub 20 lakh rupees segment, and these steps would actually help them in a long way towards that goal. And having said that, we really want this whole system to be have a modular setup, wherein in the future, if any Tesla car owner, Model A owner, wants to actually upgrade and want that autopilot feature in their car, they can do that with additional at an additional cost.
Okay.
I hope I was able to answer your questions.
Yeah,
hey,
to some extent,
one question from my side, Sriram here.
Yes, sir.
First of all, great presentation. There's a lot of work and research that's gone into the presentation. Good job done, guys. So one sort of clarification and one question from my side. One is that you had mentioned LiDAR. So Tesla does not use LiDAR. They're famously against the use of LiDAR technology. But that apart, my question was, you have proposed one model at 15 lakh, another model at, I think, around 19 lakh. Have you done any sort of even a high level number crunching on whether the vehicles at these prices would be profitable?
Team, if would like, can I take this question?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that question, sir. So yes, we did do our calculations and secondary research, and the one car model that we benchmarked when we proposed these models was the Nexon Eevee, which has been one of the most successful cars in the electric cars in the Indian automobile industry. And of course, Tesla plays it thrives on an integrated supply chain and the economies of scale. And that is the exact reason why we think that if they are capable of forging strategic partnerships with local like Indian manufacturers, part manufacturers, and of course we also proposed that they shift, they pivot to aluminum batteries instead of the lithium batteries, because they are a lot cheaper, and they are the components that are used in aluminum batteries are uh, available abundantly in the Indian market. So these are some of the ways in which we thought Tesla can provide that competitive pricing in India.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you so
One
much.
question. Tesla comes with an aspirational image, right? So now, if I launch a Tesla, which could be possible, as you rightly said, I think it's likely that you cut down on certain features, you do a bare minimum version, and you will get a 15 lakh car. You will get a 17 lakh car. What happens to my premium image? Because if you look at it, even a Mercedes today can launch something which is around a 17 lakh, 16 lakh, 15 lakh and get a lot of audience. What is your take in terms of the image that you would want to carry for the brand? And as you take this call, I think one would also want to understand what sort of a market size are you looking at?
Okay. Team, can I take that question up as well?
Yeah, sure. We can add on it.
Sure. Thank you so much for that question, sir. Actually, we had the similar thought process because Tesla has always had that top-down approach. Like when they launched their first car in the US markets, they started with that luxury, the premium segment, and then they had that top-down approach wherein they launched the budget-friendly cars in the long run, and Model S is the latest car model. We thought about it, sir, but there are a couple of things that we kept in mind. First is the the market for luxury electric cars is very short. I mean, it's very what you can say. It's a very narrow market, especially in India. And if we look at this particular graph, we can clearly see that the reason why electric vehicles have been so much successful in the Western countries is because they appealed to the affluent markets. But when it comes to India, that particular segment becomes very narrow, and that can be an issue because Tesla looks at India not only as just another market, but a manufacturing hub from which it can export cars to various regional countries, regional markets. And if they are, if they want to really make it big in this ecosystem, then may it be Africa or the South Asian countries, we thought that this particular segment would be the right vehicle for them because it involves a lot of investment. As we know, we looked at Gigafactory, which is one of the biggest facilities when it comes to manufacturing batteries. So Tesla really plays big upon economies of scale, and if it has to invest so much of money it needs to bet so much, it has to have certain certainty when it comes to returns. And this time tested segment is what we think they can bet upon relatively easily.
Fair point.
So shall we move to the next presentation?
Please.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, guys. Good presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we have with us Team Avengers from IRMA. The floor is yours, guys.
So good afternoon to one and all present here. We are Team Avengers here to present our take on the case. So India is ranked the 5th largest automobile market after China and USA. The Indian automobile industry market has a CAGR of 9% and is estimated to be 52 billion in 2026. 3.5 million cars were sold in 2021, with Maruti Suzuki occupying 47.8% market share, followed by Hyundai, Tata Motors, Mahindra, Honda, Toyota, and MG Motors. Hatchback, sedan, and SUV are the type of cars sold in Indian market. Adding to that, recently electric scooters and e-rickshaws have become popular due to government incentives. Currently there are 1.5 million electric rickshaws on the road. Now, the luxury car market is just 1% of the total car market, which amounts to 35,000 cars. It is growing at a CAGR of more than 6%, and the estimated value of luxury car market is in 2026 will be $2 billion US. Mercedes is the leader in the market, and the luxury car SUV is witnessing huge growth in the market, with BMW's total sale comprising of 50% of luxury SUVs. Now, in this chart, we can see that the price of electric cars is higher than the average price of a car sold in India. Price of electric car ranges from 1.79 crore to 11.9 lakh, while the average car price in India is around 8 lakh. Due to which purchasing electric car is not an affordable option for an average consumer. And in order to make it affordable, like Tata Motors have established Tata Passenger Electric Mobility Limited with 700 crores capital. The EV market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 23.47%, valuing at 17 billion US dollars in 2026. Furthermore, India pledged to a 45% reduction in carbon emissions by 2030 and achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. And as transport sector is one of the highest emitters, the growth in the EV market is expected to be huge. Now, at present, the price of Model 3 is around 30 lakhs, and with the because of the price bracket of around 40,000 US dollars, the tariff on the import tariff is around 100%. So the effective price reaches to 60 lakhs. And also due to the ongoing tensions between India and China, it would be difficult for Tesla to import from China, and which would disrupt its supply chain. Now, coming to the proposed strategy, we propose that Tesla should modify the current Model 3 to make Model I at a price of 20 lakhs, which would increase the volume sales. And the price can be brought down by removing autopilot features and by importing the car in knockdown parts and assemble the car in India, so that the import tariffs are reduced. The target customers now. Tesla can target the upper middle class segment whose income is increasing and has more potential to buy the product. And the brand recognition is quite strong in India, which can be seen by the number of followers of Tesla Club India Twitter page. There is potential to double or triple the market share in India. The Model X can cater to the luxury SUV segment that has a great growth potential. Now, as the EV market grows, Tesla can set up a gigafactory in India, which will reduce the import tariffs, further bring down the cost. And from India, Tesla would cater to other Asian markets. Tesla can utilize the PLI incentives and schemes like FAME to lower the cost of production in India. Now over to Vidhu.
Thank you, Shubham. Coming to the financials of Tesla, we can see that Tesla is maintaining a very healthy current ratio, which means that the company has good liquidity of assets. Tesla generated a whopping amount of 1.142 billion US dollars income in the pandemic, which means that they have the money to invest in markets like India. Analyzing the costs and the benefits can be an untapped market of affordable electric cars, which we have seen in the first slides. And the PLI incentives in the form of FAME 2 to aid the company in setting up their manufacturing unit in India. The cost associated is considering the state of electricity and infrastructure of batteries for electric cars in India. We are quite far behind the developed countries. And Tesla has to come up with initial heavy investments by setting up their gigafactory in India. And there will be also huge investments in strengthening the battery ecosystem. The government in the recent budget has also highlighted the battery swapping initiative, which is going to aid the promotion of electric cars in India. And under FAME 2 initiative, 2,700 charging stations are being set up in 65 cities. One of the most advantages is low tax on electric vehicles, which is just 5%. And if we compare it to the internal combustion cars, which is 40% tax on the cars. To approximate the demands, we have taken the help of Tesla Club India Twitter handle. If the 1% of the followers converts into the sales of the Model S or Model I, which we have proposed, and if it grows on to with a 15% growth rate year on year, Tesla will be approximately able to sell 400 units in 2019. And this can be also aided by various battery manufacturers coming in. And the promotion of electric vehicles will be in a very phased out and good manner. Thank you, everyone. We are Team Avengers signing off.
Amazing presentation, guys. Let's move on to the Q&A.
Okay, I think I'll take the starting question again. So guys, just one question. You have mentioned that 2029 they will be selling around 300, 400 roughly vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So starting with 150 to 300 over a period of 8 to 9 years, understands 15% growth. But isn't there a better way to capture the market? I mean, that's still from an entry perspective, does it really make sense to sell only 300 cars in the next 9 years?
So it's a pessimistic what we see. It's a pragmatic view, but it's not. We see that in the recent years, the electric car market will catch up as the government is going for electrification under COP till 2030. So we have estimated that if at all, if Tesla enters as a luxury car brand in India, then it will be able to sell 400 units. Otherwise, if Tesla proposes a Model I, and lowers the price which will make the car advantages for the consumer in India, then I think the growth rate will be more higher than this, and Tesla will grow exponentially, sir.
Okay, and just adding one more question onto that, have you guys tracked what the competition has done in terms of market size and growth over the last 10 years? That can also give you some clue that how does a player start and how is the number growing? Have you guys looked into that as well?
So we have done our secondary market research that I think, as mentioned by the previous team, Tata Exxon is doing very good in terms of the electric car market in India. So I think, they are in their initial stages, but I think the Tata Exxon is the car to look at if Tesla wants to go for the market.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. First of all, good presentation. I have one question. If my understanding is correct, what you're proposing is that Tesla creates this new Model I, and launches it in India for about $25,000, which is maybe $15,000 lesser than the cheapest model right now. And they achieve this cost efficiency by stripping it out of all the autopilot and so on. So I think my question sort of adds on top of Rajesh's question. See, Tesla globally currently has about a 30% operating or a gross margin. If they sell the vehicle at 25,000, given battery costs at $150 per kilowatt hour and all, their operating margin is going to go maybe in single digits, right? For a market where you're saying a pessimistic case is about 400 vehicles in 5 years or 7 years, which means a realistic case would be, even if you take 2,000 vehicles in 5-6 years from now, for a single digit gross margin, do you think, given all of this, Tesla should even go ahead and enter this market?
I think Tesla is looking India as a market for growing its. Tesla operates in economies of scale. I think they will be to test the waters in India. They first will be importing the cars in the initial phase, so to see what is the how their car is performing in the market. If they see there is a potential or they can grow. So I think the Tesla, as they have done the same in China also, they have reduced the price, but not. I think they have reduced the price by $200 or $300 to enter the Chinese market. So I think this will be the great strategy for Tesla to enter the market. And if they set up a manufacturing unit with the incentives the government is offering, they might be able to reduce the cost and bring it to the make the car attractive for the consumers.
Right, fair. Thanks, Vidhu.
Thank you, sir.
So, Vidhu, Shubham, two questions. One is you said, this is just building on to your response to Shriram, where you said we'll import the cars initially. If you import the cars initially, along with the import duty, I think your cars will not be able to sell it below 35-40 lakh. And you're saying I'm going to use that to gauge whether a car I'll be able to sell it at 18 lakh, 19 lakh or not. So, sir, what is your response to that before I come to the next one?
Shubham, are you going to take the question?
Sir, like we can first like modify the car and then try to sell it, because if it is less than 40,000 US dollars, then the tariff would be around 60% instead of being 100%. So I think that would be the entry strategy. And if the company, if Tesla finds that the demand is more, so they can further the one we propose bringing knockdown parts to India and assembling it here. So I think that would be a feasible solution. Like that would be the the strategy that they should follow.
Fair point. So, okay, I had a second question, but I'll park it because Kshitij says that we are up on our time. So thank you so much for your presentation here. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
thanks,
Shubham. Thanks, Vidhu.
Thank you, sir.
So next we have Acers from SJM Som.
Hello, everyone. Hope I'm audible. We are Team Acers from the first year MBA batch of SJM SM IIT Bombay. Our team consists of myself, Supriya Wagmare, Ayush Goyal, and Raghavan Dotra. We will be providing our analysis on the entry of Tesla into the Indian market and what is the market entry strategy it could follow. So to start with, let us first look at the overview of the Indian EV market. In the first table, we can see the adoption overview of EVs for financial year 2019 and 2020, with the percentage of shares of EV to that of the total vehicle sales increasing for two-wheelers and four-wheelers in 2020, unlike the sales for the three-wheelers. If we look at the current scenario and future projections, current EV four-wheeler adoption rate is less than 1% of the total car sales, which shows how the four-wheeler EV car sector is highly underpenetrated. But as per the estimates, the share of EV for this sector is likely to reach 12% by 2026, with a CAGR of 152.94%. Now, what are the challenges posed by the EV market segment and why is the sector so underpenetrated? Some of the major reasons for this being lack of public charging infrastructure and battery manufacturing infrastructure, along with high financing rate of electrical vehicles. Apart from this, affordability and readiness to adopt are also key issues from the customer point of view. However, while these challenges exist, e-car registration were seen at a mark of 6,002 units for FY21 and have been seen some demand for major manufacturers like Tata Motors, ruling the segment with 69%, followed by MG Motors. Next slide, please. Now, looking at some of the EV policies introduced by the Indian government to support the entire ecosystem, as is evident from the presented figure, the different players that are in the ecosystem are vital players, key actors, primary actors, secondary actors, whereas Tesla can be placed under the key actors category, as these are the players who will have direct participation in uptaking the electrical mobility market in India. Some of the major ministries responsible for development of EV are Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises and Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, along with others. And some of the major government policies introduced by them are the National Electric Mobility Mission Plan 2020, which is meant to provide 135 to 153 billion rupees for EV research and development. Apart from this, FAME 1, FAME 2, and some additional state policies for road tax exemptions and subsidies have also been introduced. Next slide, please. In this slide, we have presented the entire timeline of the various initiatives, the national and state initiatives that have been introduced over the years for the upbringing of EV sectors. The two main prominent policies that were introduced were the FAME 1 and FAME 2. In FAME 1, a total of 895 crore funds were allocated. For these funds were used to provide direct subsidy to the EV buyers, and in this one, 30 OEMs registered during this phase and 2.8 lakh vehicles were sold. Similarly, for FAME 2, the total outlay was divided into 4 categories, and this scheme was focused on promoting demand, as 86% of the scheme outlay is reserved for demand incentive. Some of the looking at the state policies, some states like Delhi, Karnataka, and Maharashtra have been the early movers in bringing up the EV sector. For Delhi, the EV policy of 2020 aimed at providing 25% new vehicles to get the EV by 2024 by extending purchase incentive support to the private vehicles. Next slide will be taken up by Ayush.
Right. Next, we have decided to do a guesstimate to have a sense of what can be the potential total addressable market for Tesla. In this, we have taken the Indian population as 140 crores with a rural and urban split of 7:3. We have taken 1 car per household and average members per household as 5. We have taken only the top 10% population as our target audience for this. And we have taken the positive acceptance ratio of case of around 2.5%. Current penetration is 1%. So we have taken a positive approach towards this. And doing the calculations, we have come up to a total potential addressable market of 2 lakhs. Next, we have just taken the population of the top 4 cities, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai, which we will be having as phase 1 of our target. The population there is 7 crores, and using the same assumptions, we have come to the calculations of 35,000. This is a brief overview about the Tesla and about its business. We can see in the Q3, it has an automotive gross margins of 30.5% with a revenue of $12 billion. It is showing a record operating margin of 14.6% and income from operations is $2 billion. Here are some of the models also. We have listed down the 4 models which Tesla currently have, which are Model X, 5, S, and 3, with their prices of INR 2 crores, 70 lakhs, 1.5 crores, and 60 lakhs. This is a graph where we can see the current market of the cars, which cars are present at which area, and we can clearly see that there are no EV cars available between the market of 30 lakhs to 1 crore, where the cars, where the Y and 3 model of Tesla comes into place. Tesla can be a profitable step for India because Tesla aims to increase the R&D investments by 2.5 billion globally, and the government policies are supporting it. Tesla is planning to enter India through its Dutch arm, which is Tesla Netherlands. This will help them gain some taxes exemption. Also, the factors like access to talented and affordable labor can also help Tesla reduce its operational costs.
Yes, so here we will be talking about the business models which is present in electric mobility for India. So like it is divided into 3 main sectors. First is the energy, second is the infrastructure, and third is the mobility. So according to us, what we feel is first Tesla needs to work on its infrastructure to develop the electric mobility scenario in India. So first it's need to do the partnership with different charging infra manufacturers and station operators, so that at least a trust can be built up for the customer out there. The second step for the Tesla will be to come into the mobility part in the phase 2 of our strategy, where Tesla will bring in the electric vehicles and traction batteries into India, so that it can start its market entry more efficiently. And third is the energy sector, which is already been supported by the government through its various initiatives like we talked about, FAME 1, FAME 2, and this can be leveraged by Tesla to improve its operational capability. Next, please. Now here we will be talk about our strategy, what we want to propose. So it is basically divided into 3 phases, each of one year. So like phase 1 is more about the market study and to define what strategic locations we want to define for the Tesla. And it also focuses on building the R&D centers to train the labor and identify solutions to the EV infrastructure problems that are currently present in India. And currently we already know that first R&D center will be set up in the Bangalore by the Tesla. Now the phase 2 will work upon building the charging infrastructure with initial target markets that we propose to like metropolitan cities. And here we will try to launch the mid-segment models of 3 and Y with reduced pricing. And then we will start working on the more market awareness and can reach more target customers in this. And the phase 3, which will be in 2024 and 25, it is basically focusing on the launch of premium models in the India with increased awareness within the participants. So here we can also see the state-wise expansion strategy. We first propose to target top 4 cities, which will be Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai. And here are the, and then we will be focusing on the tier 1 cities once we get the positive response from top 4 cities. And accordingly, we will be moved to tier 2 and tier 3. Now, the conclusion that we want to bring in, how we can create the market visibility. So here we can clearly see first, the very first is to build the trust within the market, and that is by building the Eevee infrastructure so that the Tesla can work efficiently here. And then it will be phase-wise launching to get the target customers and support them. Thank you.
I'm extremely sorry. Are you done?
Yes.
Yeah, great. On time.
Amazing presentation, guys. Let's move on to the Q&A.
Yeah, so let me start. So once again, guys, very nice presentation, and congrats to all 3 of you. First question, very quickly, you guys have prepared a plan which is, to me, very strange. You have just given 1 + 1 + 1. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 appears to be very tightly spaced. I was more expecting it will be a little bit longer span. So that's something which you can want to explain. So that's one. Second thing is, have you guys tried to figure out what is going to be the core strategy? Because in my view, that part is essentially missing. So are we talking about Tesla starting as a premium and then slowly bringing the cost down to the mass market adoption? Or are we saying that, okay, you guys go to the top? So you guys had pointed out a space where there was a gray box, that's nobody's present there. Is that the point where you want Tesla to go eventually? What's the thought process working? So both these 2 questions I just wanted to check with you guys.
Sure, sir. So firstly, taking your second question. So in phase 2, what we plan is like to start with the mid-segment models that are Model 3 and Model Y. These are priced in range of 60 to 70 lakhs. And this basically prices because of the custom duty that India charges, which is about 100 to 125%. So if that problem can be solved, these Model 3 and Model Y comes out to be at range of around 30 to 35 lakhs. So we initially propose to start with these models. And after that, we can go to the luxury segment. And because of that only, currently there is a gap in this particular segment, 30 lakhs to 1 crores. No models are present directly. So Tesla can directly target with its Model 3 and Model Y. And secondly, also, now coming to your first question, sir, what we, based on our research, we found that Tesla is planning to launch its Model 3 in September 2022. So accordingly, what we felt is at this particular stage, it might be a bit earlier, like to launch the models. First, because of Tesla's technological capabilities and with the modern solutions it brings with its Eevee. So I think we can work more about the awareness segment and to bring to build the effective infrastructure within the top 4 cities of our India, and accordingly we can then expand into it. So that was a compact strategy, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 with gap of 1 year.
Understood. Thanks.
Yeah, Aswatim, Sriram here. I have one question. First of all, great presentation. So I have a quick question. I think you had estimated the total market, I think at around 200,000 units, if I'm not wrong, per year. If my understanding of how you arrived at this is correct, this is the market for Tesla. And in this, they will have a certain market share depending on what price they play and so on and so on. My question, the question I want to ask you is, given that if my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're suggesting that Tesla import their cars, not assemble or manufacture it here. If that is the case, and for a market, let's say even if they get, let's say maybe 20% of this market, do you think from a financial margin feasibility perspective that they should even look at this market at all?
Yes, so like currently, if we are considering the case of importing the Tesla cars, so that will be a very costly initially, very costly in the Indian market. So we don't think that 2 lakhs of market will be sufficient. So this was the assumption based on like if Tesla builds the assembly line within India, and if we can get that exemption of certain taxes. So if that price range comes out to be 25 to 30 lakhs for the initial Model 3 of Tesla, I think that will be sufficient for certain 2 years or 3 years up, like by 2025. So this is the market. I think it will be sufficient according to us.
Sorry, I was on mute. So the question I was asking, at the price range of 25 to 30 lakhs, right? You're saying they should build in India, right? But you know that I think it was mentioned earlier that a battery is almost 40% of the car, and batteries are not essentially manufactured, cannot be manufactured as such in India. Do you think at 25, 30 lakhs it's feasible to build a profitable business in India?
Yes, sir. So initially, like if we try to leverage the government policies like FAME 1 and FAME 2, so there are certain incentives that gets to the users as well. Like as much as I remember, it comes out to be like 1 to 2 lakhs of incentives that directly goes to the user based on this. So I think accordingly, if we link those incentives together, Tesla may be like a profitable step for the initial 1 to 2 years, like we are seeing the semiconductor crunch as well. But after the 2 years, it can like improve on its expansion, and that will be working for Tesla after some time.
Right, got it. Thanks.
You mentioned that as part of your strategy, the first step that you want to undertake is to set up these charging stations. Correct. Now, help us understand two things. One is how big is the market size that you're looking at capturing? Because you're looking at investing a lot in terms of setting up the initial charging infrastructure. You already have seasoned players who, for their own existence, would need those charging stations. Right. So you already have players like Nexon, etc. Whoever use market share, they're setting up those charging stations. The government is setting up those charging stations. Why would you want to take that as a first step and say, look, I'm going to set up a charging infrastructure in the country because my size is such huge that that infrastructure will be required. So for the size that you're looking at, do you think that is the right strategy?
So like according to us, the charging stations that Tesla offers for its cars, it is somewhat different from what currently we like different players of Tata Motors and they are offering. So accordingly, if the foreign players comes in India, so very first thing is to build that trust that yes, our cars are also efficient with respect to our own domestic players. So accordingly, like what we propose is to develop certain infrastructure related to charging in the top 4 cities, so that we can ensure our initial customers that we are also offering a quality charging for them. There is no certain sort of issues in that part. So initially we need to build those charging infrastructure for Tesla. That is what we thought.
Sure, good.
Should we move to the next team, sir?
Please.
Next, we have Team Indies from IIM Kozhikode. You can start presenting, guys.
So thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. Now, is it visible?
You can spread out the rectangle to the entire slide.
Is it fine?
No, it's very zoomed into only half the slide.
Yeah. Is this all right, Shimanjali?
No, just zoom out a little. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll just start with the presentation. A market entry strategy lays out the all-important specifics of how a company is supposed to reach the target market. This entails the understanding of the company, the market it is entering, the competition existing in the market, both direct as well as indirect, and an assessment of the economics and the timelines of the strategy. On 8th of January 2021, Tesla, the most advanced electric vehicle company in the world, led by the charismatic Elon Musk, officially registered in its office in Bengaluru. But why did they enter India? What does India offer them? And what does the future look like? Let us look at all these aspects of Tesla's market entry into India.
Our assessment of market entry begins with the understanding of the company Tesla. Tesla is the sixth largest company in terms of market cap, with a revenue of about $31.5 billion, with a pioneer status in the EV category worldwide. Also, to create an entire sustainable energy ecosystem, Tesla also manufactures a unique set of energy solutions: Powerwall, Powerpack, and solar roofs. Tesla's car offerings include Models S, X, Y, and 3. Model 3 is the cheapest offering from Tesla at $39,490, which is the best option for the Indian market currently. Started in 2003 by engineers Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, Tesla was always intended to be a car manufacturer that is also a technology company, with Elon Musk joining them in the year 2004 as its chairman. Elon Musk's winning strategy was clear even before the first vehicle was introduced in 2006, in which he clearly said, Tesla will enter at the high end of the market, where customers are prepared to pay a premium, and then drive around the market as fast as possible to high unit volume and lower prices with each successive model. But why is a company that has an annual sales of 250,000 units attracting such huge valuations over and above companies like General Motors with 8 million units sold and other legacy car makers? The answer lies in its technology, vertical integration. From battery production to electric motor production, self-driving algorithms, and a powerful central control system, Tesla has successfully integrated all of it to unravel the complex automatic value chain, giving Tesla the superiority in terms of battery capabilities and software. Leveraging this strategy, Tesla conquered the European EV market with a staggering share of around 35% in 2019. The result of this vertical integration is the Model S, the best car ever tested, with a score of 99 by 100 by Consumer Reports. And the Model 3, which is less than half of the price of Model S and is the 16th highest sold vehicle in the world and the largest sold EV globally. Now let us analyze the market that Tesla intends to enter, India.
The Indian auto market is at a very crucial inflection point. It is the fastest growing auto market in the world. This rapid growth is going hand in hand with the EV revolution, which is sweeping across the country. Major auto companies in India have committed huge investments in the EV space, and the government, with its pro-EV initiatives, is providing both monetary as well as non-monetary benefits to the EV players and to the consumers. The most surprising element is, however, the robust demand for EVs by the Indian consumers. Indian consumers are becoming more receptive to buying electric vehicles owing to the awareness of total ownership cost and the heightened morality of using something that is environmentally safe. Thus, from the macro point of view, during the pestle analysis, politically, Tesla's entry aligns with Mr. Gadkari's plans. Environmentally, Tesla can play a key role in reducing India's dependence on crude import and reducing carbon emissions. Technologically, EV represents the future of driving, and thus, in almost all the parameters, India seems like a very good market for Tesla. However, the Indian market, though lucrative, has considerable challenges.
Tesla has top-notch technological features like auto-driving mode, which makes it attract high prices. Technologies like automatic lane changes, traffic-aware cruise control, semi-autonomous navigation, and self-parking are some of these. But all of these lose value in the Indian infrastructural setup of poor roads, heavy traffic, no lane driving behavior, and poor traffic management systems. The second biggest issue is the chronic crunch of EV charging infrastructure set up in the country, which is only prevalent in Indian cities like Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, which increases thereby the range anxiety of the consumer for long distance travel. Also, the EV charging stations in India operate 25 to 35 times slower than the Tesla superchargers. But to introduce these in India would require some predetermined consumer demand. Lastly, the biggest problem is the high price range of Tesla vehicles and the high price sensitivity purchasing behavior of the Indian audience. With the tax tariffs in place, this price further doubles. Thus, Tesla will be competing in the premium car segment category, which is currently dominated by companies like Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, etc., and which occupies a very small portion in the market with only around 30 to 35,000 units.
In the Indian context, Tata Motors is a dominant player with a market share of 70%. Tata Motors, with the support from the group companies, has developed synergistic advantages, which is very similar to the vertical integration model of Tesla, making them the most likely contender to retain the market share for the foreseeable future. It faces direct competition from Tata Motors, but indirectly as well, Tesla is at a disadvantage. India is a country of two-wheelers. 81% of the Indian auto sales last year were two-wheelers, further reducing the sales potential of Tesla. Additionally, owing to the presence of multiple players, the bargaining power of customers is also very high. Though the headwinds are multiple, we believe Tesla should enter the Indian market. The market entry has been divided into short-term and long-term. In the short run, Tesla should enter solely to do channel checks, analyze the Indian market, and keep an eye on the infrastructure developments and regulatory environment. Tesla should establish an assembling unit where imports of the Model 3 should be done in the complete knockdown or semi-knockdown manner. And after assembling them, they should be presented in the showroom to be opened in Mumbai. Mumbai is the richest city in India and the 10th richest city globally, and thus would offer a reasonable number of buyers to the Model 3. This is also the same strategy being followed by Audi and Skoda for their EV segment. After analyzing the Indian consumers in the short run, Tesla should decide its long-term course of action. Owing to the multitude of regulatory tailwinds, availability of cheap labor, and technical and engineering capabilities of Indians, the ideal scenario should see Tesla starting its gigafactory in India to design an Indian-specific electric vehicle aligned with the customer's tastes and preferences. And manufacturing in India can act as a gateway for exports to multiple Southeast Asian, African, and Central Asian countries, thereby reducing Tesla's dependence on China. So, to conclude, in the short run, Tesla should analyze the Indian market with its pilot launch of the Model 3 and understand Indian consumer trends and its operational and financial competitiveness. And in the long run, the course of action would be decided on the basis of the short-run analysis with the options discussed above. To substantiate our analysis and recommendations, we have done a primary survey by way of telephonic interview of Mr. Puneet Gupta, the director of IHS Market Automotive Sales Forecasting Advisory, along with extensive secondary research. We are now open for questions.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, let me take up the first question. So, in terms of the overall strategy, is there a place where Tesla, after doing the initial bit of, so as you have said, assembling, doing the showroom a bit in Mumbai to understand what the customer is looking for, do you think there is a spot in between where they feel that it's not really working out, let's leave this market for the time being and come back later? Because I think the way you guys have put it around, it actually gives them the option that we don't want to start full-fledged. We start in a bit of a gradual understanding of how the market wants, because the gigafactory to me is not really an option unless you have a significant demand, and based on that probably you can then think about the next step.
Sure, sir. I'll take this up. India is a country where major car makers like Ford and General Motors have failed. The major reason why they have failed is because they are not able to appreciate the customer preference of Indians, customer preference that Indians are. Indians are price sensitive, and Tesla can succeed in the long run in India only if they understand and imbibe those qualities in their vehicle. That's why our long run strategy would be to design an Indian specific electric vehicle. And we have seen that the Model 2 that is currently being offered by Tesla at $25,000 in the near future, that clearly shows that Tesla has the necessary capabilities to optimize its processes to design a cheaper EV. So in the future, there can be a possibility where Tesla says, okay, this is not working out for us, but that can be an exact situation where Tesla can go back and go to the drawing board and then design an Indian specific EV to come penetrate the Indian market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So one question from my side. So first of all, Harish, you had a really good presentation. So a lot of work has gone into it. Good stuff. Actually, a couple of questions from my side. One is that like at the end of your strategy, right? Let's say Tesla does all this and they're able to do all this. Where do you see Tesla positioning itself in the Indian market? Do you see them positioning themselves as a luxury? Because I see there's an Audi logo there, there's a Skoda there. Do you see them positioning Tesla as a luxury vehicle or a mass market vehicle, given that you have said they should drop their prices to XYZ? That is one question. And second thing, more than a question, I just want to get your thoughts on it. My understanding, if as per the slide on the screen, is that you have said that they should set up some sort of an assembly unit for a CKD sort of setup, go for a showroom in Mumbai, and then sort of slowly expand their network across. My understanding is this is a sort of roadmap that would be followed for any luxury car manufacturer, right? It could be a Lamborghini, it could be a Ferrari also. It's not EV specific, right? So just want to understand what is, as per you, what should be Tesla's specific strategy given EV rather than, or are you looking at Tesla purely as a luxury player and not as a EV manufacturer? So I just want to understand in your mind, how are you positioning Tesla over the long run in India?
Sure. Thank you for the question, sir. So taking the first question up, towards the end, we see Tesla like the Apple of the Indian automobile market. We do not see them to ever come out with a mass market vehicle for predominantly two reasons: operationally as well as financially. Tesla is not as strong as the legacy car makers in India like Tata Motors or even the other companies like Maruti Suzuki. And as we have clearly mentioned, the average price of an Indian car is $12,000. So even if Tesla comes down, it can never reach to that level because of the inherent technology that an EV requires. So we see Tesla as a luxury car manufacturer. We do not see them as a mass market vehicle in the long run as well. Though they can come down to a level of $25,000 or even $20,000. Companies like Tata Motors, Maruti Suzuki, which is yet to launch an EV, and Toyota and the Hyundai will definitely take up or eat up the major market share for EV in India, is what we envision for Tesla.
So sorry, just to sort of follow up on that, if you're saying you envisage them as a luxury car manufacturer, do you need them to come down to $20,000?
Definitely, sir.
Or can they still play at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000?
No, playing at $40,000, $50,000 would definitely, we would want them to come down to $25,000 or even less than that, because that can definitely give them additional sales. And also in the future, we are seeing Tesla to open its gigafactory in India for two predominant reasons. Not entirely to meet the local demand, but also to meet the export demand. There are a lot of African countries and Southeast Asian countries where the GDP is similar, where the people's preferences are similar. So those countries can be catered to if we have a manufacturing unit in India, as India can act as a gateway. And further, with the rising US and China trade-off battles, I think Tesla would want to reduce its dependence on China as a manufacturing hub.
Sure. Thanks for that.
I think interestingly, Sriram, I had exactly the same question about where do you position, and plus if you're looking at around that 20,000 bracket. Now, if you're looking at a 20,000 bracket, then it's clearly not luxury, right? Because so there are, at one end, you would want the large market to come in, but at the same time, you would also want to retain your premiumness, right? If Tesla is available with everyone, then the premiumness of that Tesla is probably gone. So which is where I think that question from Sriram was there, that where do you envisage a Tesla eventually lining up to be? Plus, given that you talked about a Jaguar and a Mercedes as the people that you're looking at comparing yourself with, then I think clearly that price itself is a strong indicator of where would you want to play. Yes. Now, given that you're talking about Jaguar, Mercedes, and they have their own EVs also, right, in the market right now. And these people are clearly not price conscious, right? These people who are playing in that domain, they are not as price conscious as we make them out to be. So how do you then place your strategy? Because you said we are basing a strategy on the base of it being a price value conscious kind of a market. But again, at the same time, we're saying I'm looking at targeting a Jaguar and a Mercedes.
So I'll take up this question. So to answer initially, even if we divide our population segment into two categories, we would never really be head-on competing with Tata, because Tata would be something catering to a lower middle class. And when we're talking about Tesla's long-run strategy, which has always been introducing with a high-end vehicle and then maybe expanding and coming up with a smaller range vehicle. So currently the highest offerings, which might go up till 1 crore, even if you look at other models, would be directly competing with extreme luxurious segments. But as and when the demand increases and they understand the consumer audience, and if we have the operational capability of, say, launching a lower income vehicle, then we can expand to further population segments. So it will have a transition where obviously, but as you mentioned, it will have to retain its premiumness. So there is a limit below which Tesla will never come down. Hari, you can add on.
No, I think that's what I wanted to say as well.
Good, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, team.
Thanks, Hari. Thanks, Shivanjali.
Thank you.
Now we will be moving on to Team Ninjas 2.0, SBM Narsi Munji Institute of Management Studies.
Thank you, Kshitij. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can someone confirm if my screen is visible?
It's visible. It's visible, Ronak.
Okay. Good afternoon, team. Today, we, the members of Team Ninjas 2.0, are here to talk about Tesla's entry strategy into India. So, first, looking at the company and market assessment, we see that the Indian electric vehicles market is valued at $5.47 billion in 2020, and it is expected to reach $17.01 billion by 2026, showing that it would be growing at a CAGR of 23.47%. The major market driving factors are the increase in domestic manufacturing, rapid urbanization, and rise in environmental awareness. If we look at the market concentration of EV, we see that the Indian electric market is neither too fragmented nor highly consolidated. It lies somewhere in the between. So there is a scope for Tesla to, there's a large scope for Tesla to enter into the market. Also, if we look at the composition of the type of vehicles, we see that the passenger cars occupy the major market share, followed by two-wheelers, followed by commercial vehicles, two-wheelers, and three-wheelers. Looking at the pestle analysis, we see that the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors all are conducive for Tesla to enter into the market, with the government introducing its new laws, such as Make in India, 100% FDI, with the economy growing at a GDP growth average of 7.9%, increasing manufacturing. Also, we see that as new technology is being adopted, research and development, emphasis is being placed on research and development. All these factors are contributing and making an environment which is conducive for Tesla to enter the market. Talking about the company and market assessment, we have done the Porter's 5 forces analysis, and we see that the bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of consumers, and the threat of substitutes are moderate forces, whereas the threat of new entrants is a weak force, and the intensity of competitive rivalry possesses a strong force. Since intensity of competitive rivalry is one of the most significant forces, we suggest that Tesla should try to strengthen its competitiveness by prioritizing this force. And this can be done through innovation and increased market presence, and boosting the research and development investment to outpace competitors. Also, in terms of increasing market presence, Tesla can take up aggressive marketing campaigns too. Talking about the SWOT analysis of the company, we see that Tesla is one of the topmost employer. It is the most valuable automotive company and is constantly innovating and better positioned. Whereas if we talk about the weaknesses, there are manufacturing complications that the company may face, and also shortage of batteries and a lack of high volume production. Talking about opportunities, we see that it has a huge opportunity to tap into untapped markets like India. Also, it can produce less expensive cars, and it can bring battery production technology completely in-house. Talking about the threats, product liability, customer adaptation, concern for pedestrians, and shortage of raw materials are some of the threats that the company faces. Now over to Priyanshi to talk about the financial capability.
Thank you, Ronak. So making the cars is one problem, but being able to execute it in a timely manner while maintaining the liquidity is another. Debt to equity ratio is continuously decreasing, and if this continues, company can soon become a debt-free company, which is a positive sign for the company. Next is the receivable turnover and inventory turnover ratio. So company is performing pretty decent here as well. Improvement in the inventory turnover ratio shows the strong sales capability of the company from year to year. Asset turnover ratio has increased by a CAGR of 3.7%, which clearly depicts that the company is not just focusing on increasing profit, but increasing efficiencies also. Margin ratios, all the 3 margin ratios have seen a positive trend. To maintain profitability, Tesla must continuously increase their efficiency and reduce cost. As a part of this effort, Tesla is expanding its manufacturing capacity. The company has beaten the odds and built superior technologies, created an organization that out-initiates incumbents, also while building large-scale manufacturing capabilities. Current ratio, liquidity is an important factor for Tesla as it prepares to ramp up production facilities and launch new lineups. Return ratios, again, positive trend from the last 7 years. Tesla knew how to capitalize on the profitable Chinese EV market. Next slide, please. So we can see that the share price of the company is improving and generated a return of approximately 1,631% from 2017 till date, which is impressive as compared to other competitors. Sales and net income of the company have shown a tremendous growth in the last 5 years. Sales increased by a CAGR of 46%. and net income improved tremendously, especially in the last financial year, which has come from negatives to positives with an increase of 200+%. The number of delivered cars is an important metric for Tesla, as it is a leading indicator for their revenue. After the launch of Model 3, the company's car delivery numbers increased significantly. And when we compare it to the other car companies, Tesla's valuation is much higher. You can see that Tesla leads the pack of approximately 22, while established car companies such as BMW and Ford are significantly lower. The market is evaluating Tesla as a growing tech company rather than a traditional automaker. So the overall picture clearly shows the financial capability of the company to enter into a new market for the expansion. Next slide. But now let's talk about the overall capability of the company. So product development capability, Tesla could have entered India through completely build-up route, but this could have attracted taxes of up to 100%, making their product highly unaffordable. So they decided to set up a plant in Bangalore to make their product affordable, take benefits of various government schemes, and target a large number of people. Tesla is also considering suitable tire and rim modifications to make the product more India-friendly. Market research capability. Tesla did their market research and they are aware that Indian electric vehicle market is expected to grow by a CAGR of 90%, and their design and technology can compete with the current players in the market. Next is the marketing capability. Considering the price-sensitive India market, companies looking forward to target the premium segment, Tesla has never been better positioned to conquer new markets, including the price-sensitive markets of India. And last, we have the sales capability. Along with the setup of plant in Karnataka, Tesla also have the capability to open retail stores in other large cities, depending on the demand potential. And Elon Musk is already in talks with other state governments to set up retail outlets. Next slide, please. Talking about the timeline for business expansion, in 2022, we suggest that the company should go for sales-only strategy. Tesla India should start manufacturing with Model 3 and launch it in the range of less than 50 lakh rupees, followed by other models. And then they should initially sell it via direct sales or through company outlets, starting with Bengaluru and Bombay. 2024, it's time to expand sales. Tesla can take advantage of rapidly growing charging infrastructure and expand to other metropolitan cities also. 2026, next step is local manufacturing and introducing cheaper models for the price-sensitive customers. By 2028, it's time to take advantage of growing infrastructure and launch driverless cars in India. And 2030, market penetration. By 2030, they can launch into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities and launch of new affordable models which are suitable for rural conditions also. Over to you, Ronak.
Thank you. So I'll just quickly wrap up the entry strategy. So there are a lot of challenges that the company is facing. The import taxes of 60% on models which are priced less than 40,000 and 100% on more than 40,000. Also, Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai, Mahindra are some of the companies that have come up with their own EVs and are great competition for Tesla. So the modes and methodology that we recommend are that Tesla should go for direct sales without appointing any dealers. They can use digital technology apps for pre-bookings. And we suggest that they must target the premium and luxury segment buyers initially, which also have a sizable buyer base. Also, Carvale's survey had shown that 53% consumers are willing to pay a premium over a conventional car to buy an EV, considering that it has a higher running that offsets the initial purchase. And further, to compete with other major players in the market, they must launch more models and build more affordable cars for the Indian market. Thank you. We are open for questions.
Right. Sriram here. I have a question. I'll start off. First of all, good presentation, guys. Good presentation. I have a question. If you can go back to your previous slides, the one previous to this, the roadmap slide. Is there any thought or any high-level idea you guys have on what would be the profitability roadmap, or do you expect them to be profitable right away? Do you expect them to never make a profit? Is there any numbers that you can share?
Sir, right now we don't have the numbers, but of course we are not expecting that the company will never make the profits. If you see the previous financial records of the company also, the company was making loss from the last 4 financial years. But in the last financial year, they have made profits with an increase of 200+%. So that is what we expect when we enter into a new market. In the initial years, you cannot expect that while entering also, you can have a very high percentage of profit, or even profits. So initially, yes, we also expect that the company may face some losses, but yes, in the long run, with the cost efficiencies, with the launch of new models, and while studying the Indian market, we expect that the company will definitely have profits in the long run.
Sir, adding to Priyanshi's points, that's why we plan to introduce the Model 3 first. We want to test the waters and we want to see how the Indian market is taking Tesla, and then we plan to further build upon our strategies as we had mentioned in the slide.
Right. So one more question from my side. You want to start with the Model 3, but I think you also mentioned somewhere in your presentation that you would be starting with a luxury segment. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So do you think that Model 3 is the correct model to start from, since you're going with starting with a luxury segment?
Sir, I believe that the Model 3, which is priced at around $39,000, is not actually the ultra, it does not belong to the ultra luxury segment, but for Indian consumers with their current purchasing power and all, I think it would be a good fit to target those audience too. And so Tesla has its own brand value and a prestige image, which definitely would cater to that kind of audience.
Okay, thanks.
When
Okay.
one is looking
Yeah.
at, sorry, go ahead, Rajaji. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Sorry for
No,
just
go ahead,
interrupting.
go ahead, please go ahead.
Okay. So just one question from my side. Have you guys figured out that going forward, what kind of partnership should Tesla be looking into? Because the EV ecosystem in India is still very nascent. There are a lot of work going on with government and private players. Do you think Tesla can play any role specifically in developing the infrastructure, either standalone or with any other partner, so that it brings a lot of improvement and also eases the feasibility of development of an electric vehicle?
I'd like to take up that question. Okay, so sir, yes, Tesla has a lot of opportunities, and it would be a really great idea if Tesla takes up other companies, other Indian companies for local partnerships, or even the government, because the electric infrastructure is at a very nascent stage, and come what may, this has to be developed if India needs to be placed on the world map. So India can partner up with local companies like Tata Power and all, or even with the government to get the government contracts so that they can ramp up the charging facilities in India.
And sir, just adding to Ronak's point, we are already aware that companies like Tata Power has already come into this business of opening up new electronic vehicle charging stations. So they will have the resources, and if they will collaborate with the Tesla, or Tesla will collaborate with them, so that will be a win-win situation for both the companies, and that will definitely help Tesla in the long run also.
Okay, thank you.
What sort of numbers are you looking at for a Tesla? Because your entire strategy, will also depend on the number of units of sale that you're looking at. Because that will be the metric with which you will define whether we have been successful or not successful. That will be a metric which will define whether it should be a make versus buy kind of a thing, right? Whether it should be sourcing in or. So for all of those elements, what sort of a number are you looking at in terms of a sale of a Tesla units? Any thoughts around that?
Priyanshu, would you like to take that up?
Yes. So, sir, currently, like we mentioned that we don't have the numbers at how many cars they are going to sell in the coming trends. But as we have seen that when Tesla initially entered into the Chinese market also, so they have change their product according to the requirements of the Chinese market, not completely, but at least some modifications. So initially, when we see the other players in the market also, like in the previous slide we have mentioned, when their price to sales ratio is 22, so that is why, because their stakeholders, their shareholders have the trust in the company that they will grow in the future. So we don't have the exact numbers, but the trend is absolutely positive.
Fair point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Team
Thank you,
Ninjas.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now
Thanks.
we will be moving on to Team Rise and Shine from Goa Institute of Management.
Adarsh, are you there? Yeah, just one second. Yeah, hope I am audible and visible. Let me share my screen.
Sure, go ahead.
I hope everyone is able to see the presentation, right?
Yes, Adarsh. Yep. Presentation mode.
Can we start?
Yes, you may start.
So good evening to everyone. This is Consultomania 2022, and we are Team Rise and Shine. I am Adarsh Bansal, and I am here along with my teammate Harshal Bhatia, and we are here to present the market entry strategy for Tesla Motors in India. So let's first have a look at the Tesla scenario in India currently. Under the market drivers, market entry drivers, we have the EV transition that the India is going currently, the desire for autonomous vehicles. So from this graph, we can see that the people who prefer the existing companies in India to get with the autonomous technology are decreasing. So that's why there isn't effective as the Tesla gets here, since it is a pioneer in the same. Then the supply chain is already established for many components. For the entry barriers, we can see that the foremost entry barrier is the import tariff of 110% on EV vehicles that are incoming. And since we have a very low per capita income buying power for Indian consumers and a tipping point of 24 lakhs when it comes to it, buying EVs, the Tesla Model 3, which is the cheapest version, is costing around 60 lakhs and it proves to be quite infeasible. So from all of this, what are the insights that we get? So what the current development, Tesla is trying to convince the government to bring the EV tariffs, EV import duties to 40%, but it is quite highly unlikely because the government is emphasizing on localization for the economy, and therefore Tesla needs to come up with a new manufacturing strategy in Indian market. The next thing is Tesla is still dependent on many critical EV electrical and electronic components, which attract an import duty of around 30%. So in order to reduce that cost, Tesla also needs to develop a supplier base in India for critical electrical and electronic components. So coming to the consumer trends, the main existing trends are that the people are price sensitive and they want a reliable charging network and a service network. What are the consumer preferences that we get? So this data has been taken from the Global Consumer Outlook from the Deloitte study on EV vehicles, and there's a sample size of around 3022 of the Indian consumers that is actually displayed here, and it says that the people are actually inclining towards the advanced technology features in the cars, and therefore it's a good sign for Tesla. Next. It has been already discussed that Tesla is an autonomous vehicle pioneer, and it will get an effective edge for the consumers who want to buy that vehicle. These are some of the demographics that you can look on the screen, and we also have like interesting insights on the charging time preference. So it comes out to be on an average of 35 minutes. So basically, Tesla can save cost on this because it currently has more advanced superchargers. I hope that I'm visible. Hello.
Yes, Adarsh, continue.
Yeah. So it has an average charge time of around 35 minutes. So Tesla can actually introduce less sophisticated chargers and therefore reduce cost on charging infrastructure. And since the consumers are price sensitive in India, so they don't want to pay much more for an EV, and therefore Tesla needs to target the luxury buyers in India to have a feasible sales. Now looking at the competitive environment in India, first we will have a look at some of the main observations that we have, and from these we have the two main observations. So Tesla is actually said to be vertically integrated, but it's not completely because it's still dependent upon some manufacturers like LG Chem, CATL, and Panasonic for the battery cell component, which is the most critical part of an EV vehicle. And second is that in Indian market, there's a high entry barrier for any other EV company to enter because of the huge setup cost. So in order to set up a new gigafactory, Tesla would need around $3 to $4 billion. But due to its high investment potential and with these various state governments pitching in and for land acquisition ease to Tesla, so that's why there's a good proponent for Tesla. So from all of these, the competitive study as well as the environmental study, what we get is that Tesla can enter the Indian market as a luxury EV brand, and also Tesla can use the quite cheap sourcing of battery cells from China, where it has already established its battery manufacturing operations with the other companies. So over to Harshal.
Yeah, moving on to the competitor analysis, we did a competitor analysis of the Indian market, the EV vehicles present in the segment, and from this data, we came to know that the Tata Motors is the leader for this one. So what are the key components why Tata is famous? The first is the supply chain integration. For Tata is forward and backward is integrated, hence the cost is low. The pricing point for Tata is the key component for Indian market. It is lies in the range of 11 to 15 lakhs, and the sales and service support that they provide. But there are also caveat into this one. They have slower charging, and there are safety concerns with the Tata vehicles, which is overtaken in which is overlooked in the vehicles of the Tesla. Now, customer segmentation. From all the analysis, we have done the customer segmentation, and the target customers that we have identified are those in the tier 1 cities, which are adults at the age of 25 to 50 and who has an annual income of about 60 lakhs. So how the Tesla is going to position itself? The Tesla is going to position itself as a luxurious premium e-vehicle loaded with high technology and such as autonomous driving and other features, and elegant in design at the same time. And this vehicle will be used for both long route and short route. Now, coming back to the point of the market strategy for Tesla, we have devised a strategy in phase-wise manner, which is divided into 3 phases, phase 1, 2, and 3. The phase 1 is the market entry strategy. In the case of market entry strategy, Tesla will enter into Indian market with Model 3, Tesla Model 3, and the manufacturing strategy will be that they will be importing the semi-knockdown units to India and will be assembling with the joint venture with the local vendors in India. And the price range would lie between 38 lakhs to 39 lakhs, and it will take 1 to 2 years for establishing this. After the success of this, they can move to the scaling up, where they will be reducing on the SKD units and will be mostly dependent upon the local Indians manufacturers in India with the same model, Tesla Model 3, and they will be cost around the range of 31 to 32 because the import duty that has been initially in the phase 1 will be reduced. Now coming to the last phase, where they will be establishing their own gigafactory in India and also launching the Model 2, which is the most awaited model, which is priced into 18 to 19 lakhs, which will cater to the lower segment, and they are already established in the upper segment. Hence, this will be the strategy for the Tesla in phase-wise manner. So the one point that comes into mind is the always the infrastructure for that one, and we have devised a phase-wise manner infrastructure for them as shown in the figure, and we have also taken the long-term and the short-term goal for them. Now moving on to some of the financials that we have done for them. The first about the gigafactory. If they are going to launch, they have to invest in $5 billion, and the location has been mentioned, and we have done in-depth analysis of what are the cost for the each component that take place, and the sales for the Tesla in the upcoming years for 3 years. And from that one, we have done financial analysis where we found that the factory can be profitable within 4 years, and they will be having a good profit there. So from all this conclusion, we can say that Tesla has a good financial and can generate revenue within 4 years with an investment of around $5 billion into gigafactory and other aspects, and can also have already a partnership in India with this one and sourcing the battery cells at a lower cost from the established market. And moving on to the last part, we have also produced a ATL plan for Tesla of a 1 year period. So this is all from Team Rise and Shine. Thank you. We are open for questions.
Yeah, I think I'll start, Sriram, here. First of all, thanks, guys. Very good presentation. So, if I understand correctly, the numbers that you're projecting is about 500,000 or little more than 500,000 of sales in year 4 of Tesla's entry into India. I somehow missed the, is there any, can you share what are the assumptions that have gone behind it's a fairly ambitious target. Is there any assumptions behind how you arrived at 500,000 in 4 years?
Yes, sir. So first, initially, there are factors like first we look the USA market. The data has been shown, has been released by the Tesla itself, that the sales in the USA market has been shown. Now, the factor that we have considered is first is about how the demand of EV is there in Indian market. Like in the competitor analysis, we have taken the sales of the brands such as Tata, MG Motors, and etc. And also we have taken to the premium segment like Audi, Mercedes, and other, and we have taken a factor like we have reduced it by 1/10 or 1/8 factor because the Indian price sensitive market, the other factors, and in that way we have done extrapolation to this one, to these figures, sir.
So also we are considering that by reaching like year 4, we would be significantly reducing the cost of the vehicle. So on the basis of that, like we are projecting a little higher sales as would be possible with the original cost that is present today. So that's why like we are having these figures.
And sir, economics and scale and the gigafactories development will also help to achieve these figures, sir.
Right. Thanks.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions on the same slide. So I think overall, so to start with, you guys have done a pretty decent coverage of the different areas and aspect which goes into preparing a business case and then coming up with the number. Couple of questions here. First is, you have mentioned an expected investment of $5 billion. So again, I think from the investment perspective, can you throw some light? What kind of investment are you talking about and what kind of capacity? So that's one. Second is, below I can see where you have calculated the possible P&L, you have captured a variable cost part, right? So this variable cost from a product perspective, are we saying from day one manufacturing in India otherwise, or is it the variable cost at US and then being imported to India? What is this cost structure? How you have derived it? Just wanted to understand.
Sir, for the first part, I would like to take the $5 billion this fund. Now we know that Tesla has been investing into Germany, the Berlin one. So the reference has been taken from all the other part, and the latest one, what they are looking upon. They have taken a chunk of money to invest into that one. So for the money that they have invested would be around 4 to 4.5. So considering as a factor of safety, we have raised it considering the inflation rate that the cost in the value of money will rise in the upcoming years, and we have multiplied and got to the figure of $5 billion. So this was the reference from the existing one, and the variable cost.
For the variable cost, sir, we have actually looked at some of the references like for the current variable cost, CIF cost that is incurred at the Chinese gigafactory, and like we have the variable cost has been actually modified by us, keeping in point that what components are we actually sourcing from India and what components would be sourced from outside, because we are also taking the factor that we can reduce some of the import duties of 30% that is incurred on few components which could be procured from India itself. So on the basis of that, sir, we have arrived at this cost, variable cost.
Understood. So the investment is more like a benchmarking with an external country like Germany. And in terms of variable cost, you have assumed some degree of localization, which goes into reducing the cost.
Yes, sir. In different phases, actually, according to the whatever year we are talking about and whatever components that we are talking about, like in year 1, we would be sourcing all the components from outside and like only few components for India. And in year 2, most of the components, excluding the battery, would be sourced. And in the in the phase 3, what we will try to source all components from India itself. So all these factors have been taken into consideration before arriving at the variable cost.
And yes, incorporating the inflation rate and other factors, sir.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Question. What is the overall market size that you have estimated for the luxury EV market? What is the current market size for the luxury EV market?
Sir, it's around 30 to 40,000 units that are sold, or like as of the data that is.
This is for the luxury one or the overall?
Luxury, only luxury. Luxury, like very like the vehicles which are like costing at or above 50 or 60 lakh rupees. So that we have got the data.
And you're saying that you will be able to capture 25% of that market in the first year itself.
Sir, our cars are actually like quite lesser than that price. We are like in the phase 1 only. We are like pricing our cars at 38 to 39 lakh. Model 3. We are only talking about Model 3 here. So keeping in that, like the reduction in cost will also have a effect on the demand, because many consumers are there who are actually present in this price range. So according to that, we have.
I just wanted to understand. I just wanted to understand what is the market overall market size in which we are competing and what percentage, because this 11,000 number itself looks like a fairly ambitious kind of a number. So just wanted to understand.
if I take, sir, this would be around 7 to 10% of what the market has been existing. When we take about the Mercedes, BMW, and other brands, luxurious brand to this segment, it would like from this we can multiply like 70 to 80 thousands of an annual total way we have considered, and from
EV.
that also, yeah, not
And
EV, sir,
only
luxury, no, luxury. And for EV, we are establishing like 20 to 25,000, like around 30,000, including all the brands in luxury and
saying that from within that we are going to capture 1/3 of the market in year one itself.
Yes, sir, we are going to capture because the Indian market is ready for that. Part is ready to capture this one. And as we said, the luxury market don't have any EV specifically for them. Now the market that they are competing, Tata is into the lower segment. That's why the sale is low at that part. But for the EV, if it comes, the market is prepared to purchase this one because the non-EV vehicles are selling at higher rates. Sir.
Fair point. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Sorry, just Sriram here. One more question from my side. Given that you've done some work on estimating the financials of the Gigafactory and all, see, my understanding is that you're starting off from the beginning with setting up a dedicated Gigafactory, local sourcing, and so on. In that case, I understand that you're proposing to launch one model, Model 3, at the price range of I think around $50,000. Given that you're setting up dedicated capacity and all, does it make sense for you guys to set up to launch only one model? Or do you think it also makes sense to sort of hit the ground running with all your models, including Model S, X, everything? So that, see, in India, you do have models like Jaguar Electric, you have Mercedes EQC. Do you think, because you can break even on your unit costs faster, do you think it sort of makes sense to sort of ramp up with all your models rather than just going with one, given that you're starting with dedicated capacity?
Sir, like I would like to answer this question. So what we have done is that in the phase one, let me show you the phase one. Yeah, 1 second. Yes. So in the phase one, what we have done is that we are trying to not like completely set up a dedicated unit. We would like to partner with an existing OEM for a JV so that we can just produce Model 3 while importing the semi-knockdown unit. And from the phase 2, we will try to set up the plant. We are looking to set up a plant, and in that initially, since sir, we are not looking that the Tesla would be able to develop the Tesla Model 2, which is in talks right now by phase 2. So that's why on a safer note, we have taken we have actually forecasted maybe by potentially by phase 3 Model 2 will be launched, and then we would be extending the line in the factory and producing these two models. And after that, like we can, since the production would be also localized, so we can further look to reduce the cost of other cars which are available by Tesla, and then sell in the market by looking at the response that these two models would receive at that time.
And sir, initially the market entry, as you said, third model, but post to scaling up, we can definitely extend our line with the Gigafactory establishing the later stage. So in that way, we are very well settled in market. We have understanding of the market demand, and then we can put our Gigafactory there, sir.
Got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
So that was a wonderful presentation, Team Rise and Shine. Now we will be moving on to the last presentation for the evening. Team Silly Squids from IIFT.
Please do let me know once my screen is visible. Am I audible? Kshitij, could you please confirm?
Yes, you are audible, but we cannot see your screen
yet. Just a moment.
Am I audible? This is Vedika Agarwal.
Yes, Vedika, you're audible.
Thank you. Good evening, panel members. This is Vedika Agarwal, and I'm representing Team Silly Squids from IIFT Delhi, and I am along with my team member going to present a case solution for Consultomania, the consulting chapter. Next slide. Today, EV represents about 3% about new car sales globally. In India, EV car sales account for just 1.3% of total car sales. Now, at this point, Tesla could have a cascading effect across price points and has the potential to supercharge the electric vehicle segment in India. But it has some barriers. If you look at the policy framework, the FAME Policy 1 and 2 allots only 6% to electric cars, and out of which Tesla isn't even eligible for that because the scheme allows the allowances for cars below 15 lakh. It also has some support in India, which is that there is a positive sentiment towards EV vehicles because the petrol prices are rising above 100 rupees. Battery assembly in India has already taken off. So for Tesla, battery assembly is a low hanging fruit. These slides aren't visible.
Apologies, actually, I dropped off. Just a moment. Yeah, is the slide visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Slide, please.
All right.
So battery assembly in India has already taken off. So for Tesla, battery assembly is a low-hanging fruit and they can make cells as they scale. So overall, India could be a small market for Tesla, but the real value will come from developing a supply chain of EV components, low-level engineering, and a stake in EV gigafactory ambitions. So to analyze whether Tesla should enter now or later, we have done a scenario analysis in which we have considered 4 parameters: scope of a new market, product scope, leveraging Tesla capabilities, and EV policy regulations, where the low, medium, and high indicate the favorability of the factors for Tesla to enter in that year. So, as we see that the rising oil prices and the rise of ultra high net worth individuals in India does portray a good market for India. We have also done a TCO analysis, which is a total cost of ownership of an EV vehicle, and we've estimated that about at 70,000 kilometers, the cost of owning a Tesla is favorable as compared to a sedan that costs around 23 lakhs. Also, if we do this for a four-wheeler EV fleet segment, the Tesla is already favorable as compared to an ICE vehicle. So this shows that four-wheeler EV fleet is a very potential business for Tesla. Also, setting up charging stations is a very costly model. So we are exploring partnerships in this case to set tie-ups with petrol pumps, malls, and also we'll bridge this with a bridging technology and partnership with other competing partners who are already giving luxury and premium EV cars. Next slide, please. Abhishek, next slide. No, yeah. So in this case, we have analyzed two. Parameters, leveraging Tesla capabilities and EV policy regulations and framework. As you can see in this graph, that there has been a logarithmic fall in the price of batteries in a decade. The battery prices have fallen by 85%. So, and battery cost is about 35% of the Tesla car cost. So, given the logarithmic fall, EV could become as cheap as an ICE when the price range is around $100 to $120 kilowatt per hour. So, this is one of the factors where Tesla should consider not now but later. Also, Niti Aayog has proposed a document where it is planning to set up a 500 gigawatt factory in India. But current demand of India is only 0.5 gigawatt. Because of this lower demand, major players like Panasonic, BYD, LG Chem are not even willing to bid for this tender and are not even going for the generous subsidies. So Tesla, at this stage, setting up a factory is not very feasible. What we are proposing that the localization is something that Tesla could leverage, as we see that battery module used in India need to have some higher temperature module resistance or a better power to energy ratio given the Indian scenario. So customization is not possible at a global level. So this could be a very secret sauce for India to enter into India. And since Tesla cars are very software heavy, it has the potential to generate more jobs in the shared services center. Now these centers are centers that will cater to simple and more routine work like air tech updates or coding that is very cheaper to outsource to Indian employees. So as we to see into this perspective, Mercedes-Benz has a back-end office in Bangalore where it generates about 6,000 jobs. So leveraging on this factor, Tesla can create jobs at this point and later enter India with manufacturing and other ambitions. Over to you, Abhishek.
The market entry for Tesla for the Indian market has been denoted on the top left side of the screen. Is the next slide visible?
Not yet, Abhishek.
Yeah. So the market entry of Tesla for the Indian market has been denoted on the top left side. Initially, we suggest that Tesla should import completely built unit of model S, X, Y, and 3 up until 1 year after the rollout of first vehicle from the factory. From financial year 25-26, we suggest that Tesla rolled out assembled knockdown units. Charging infrastructure for tier 1 will be completed at around financial year 27. That would include around 206 total stations. For select tier 2 cities, it would be completed by around financial year 2030. For clarity, we have mentioned the complete procedure in the lower half of slide. This includes the importing of completely built units first, investment in charging station in metro cities simultaneously, moving on to knockdown unit assembly, then introducing a product fit for the market through R&D, such as reducing the range or modifying battery for the temperature, then going ahead, exploring charging opportunities in tier 2 cities, expanding sale and offering vehicles through lease for a lower price point, creating India, and then beyond financial year 2030, having India as an export hub for the Middle East and Southeast Asia. So going ahead, the current EV policy adopted by various states of India has been mentioned here. Since this area of policy is still in transition, the suggestions have been made as per the current scenario, and we recommend tie up with states on aspects of EV which are currently most favorable. For manufacturing, we would definitely consider Karnataka and Maharashtra due to their favorable policies. For the Indian supply chain market, battery manufacturing will be difficult as it does not have the raw materials necessary in the country. However, parts such as chassis can be manufactured in India. Coming to the marketing strategy, since Tesla has a premium brand image, the premium brand image shall will be brought into India and will be established as an early offering. Would include only the model S, X, Y, and Tesla Experience Center would be set up in metro cities. A buyback strategy shall be proposed down the line around financial year 26 to buy back Tesla Model 3, and the credit that will be earned by the customers can be used to purchase premium models of Tesla. Coming to the financials, we project that the operations would turn profitable in 2026 and the Tesla would be able to post its first net profit in 2031, considering the interest expense that would be incurred. Leasing units have been assumed at 10% of the sales, and growth of the market has been assumed at the growth of the luxury market has been assumed 6% annually, and down the line by the financial year 2030, we have assumed that Tesla will earn a market share of around 8% of the total luxury market. The COGS here have been assumed at 85% of the manufacturing cost. So going ahead, the chart to the left shows net profit after interest expense. Tesla would require around 3,500 crores of fund, that is approximately $500 million, to be raised to fund its capital expenditure as well as operational loss in the first few years. The funds can be raised via corporate bonds at 5% or a combination of debt and bonds through equity market, given its premium valuation. The revenue and expenses have been mentioned towards the lower right side of the slide. And on a concluding note, we have created the total cost of ownership analysis vis-a-vis a sedan named as Hyundai Elantra. We believe that this would the Model 3 in future would have a direct competition with this. We have created 3 scenarios of the calculating TCO based on different running of 60,000 kilometers, 90,000 kilometers, and 120,000 kilometers. So as evident from this side, right now the TCO for electric vehicle turns favorable only if it has more than 70,000 kilometers of running post completion of its 5 years. However, as the prices of battery will further reduce, we expect the price of the model to reduce simultaneously, which would imply that the total cost of ownership will turn favorable much earlier, say around 40,000 kilometers of running. This would indirectly boost the demand of Tesla Model 3. So just before the assumptions for financials have been taken up in appendix, and just on a concluding note, I would like to take the panel members through the financials that we have prepared in greater detail. So there have been certain assumptions that have been taken, such as the service cost has been assumed at 60% of the revenue that would be earned, and the leasing has been assumed at 10% of the sales unit. And with that, we would like to conclude our presentation, and we would like to open the floor for question and answers.
Right. So, Sriram here, good work, good presentation. A lot of effort has gone into it. I have one question.
Sure, sir.
You are talking about around 4,000 units of sales in, I think, 2030, with,
Yes,
I
sir.
think, material margin or a gross margin of about
Yes,
15%,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
I think you mentioned 85% COGS. So in 2021, as you know, Tesla sold 1 million units, right? Do you think Tesla should enter India for a 4,000 unit sale in 2030 with a 15% gross margin? Do you think it's even worth the effort?
I'll take that up, sir. Sir, although the figure in the near future looks just in the triple digits, however, sir, the figures have been derived from the luxury market of India. For 2030, we have assumed that for the first year we'd assumed that India the Tesla would be able to capture 1% of the total luxury market. So although the figures are very low, down the line, sir, once the figures expand, and given the fact that Tesla has higher margin as compared to other automotive giants such as Toyota, Mercedes, I believe down the line, post completion of 10 years, it would be very profitable. And sir, one other reason I would like to back up is if we enter the market a bit late, that would take away the first mover advantage and also the opportunity to set up the plant and other charging station at a lower capex right now. So these two reasons is what I would like to quote, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, just one question from my side. Why are you specifically looking at leasing? Is there any specific reason or strategic advantage behind that?
Sir, since the leasing model has been used by Tesla in foreign markets as well, and we thought that it would help us, cater to a larger audience, as well as as well as gain a larger share. We have assumed that for leasing the vehicle would be on road for 10 years, and the cost would be broken even at around 7 years. So the end 3 years of operations, the leasing would have much more, we would have a much more higher profit margin, simultaneously capturing a larger share, enabling customers to experience the Tesla for just say a shorter period. Then they can go ahead and buy the Model 3 or even move on to premium models, sir.
Sir, I would like to add one point to that. May I? So we also looked into the leasing concept in USA, and we found that about 25% of the total cars sold in USA, about 25% of them were on lease, which means that in US, where affordability of Tesla isn't much of an issue as much as in India, leasing is a concept that is still working. And year on year, the leasing sales is increasing, as in every quarter this is increasing. And we found one very interesting point, that in a quarter when the loan rates decreased, the leasing loan rates decreased, the leasing also decreased, which means that people were considering loan as compared to leasing. So we feel that in India, this leasing concept will they pick up more as compared to US. So while US figures were 25%, we expect India to be even more than that, since affordability is an issue here.
Just to clarify on that point, sir, since we know down the line the interest rates in the Indian market are bound to go up, so leasing would become a much favorable options given that the financing of vehicles would be different. So this is what my teammate was trying to explain by the interest rates, sir.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, this sounds all good, huh? So now, do you see any risks which would derail the entire plan that all of you have put in?
Sir, although we foresee risk that the Indian consumer would not be able to accept it as quickly as possible, one specific point which I would like to mention is the setting up of charging infrastructure. Say in USA and Europe, what Tesla has done is created huge charging stations outside the city. However, as a general customer won't be able to go outside the city just to charge for 15 minutes and come back. So one risk that is here is we'll have to tie up with malls, petrol pumps as soon as possible to have the charging stations sprinkled across the city instead of being concentrated in one area. So if that part of the plan is something we are unable to plan out, so we'll have to modify our financials and sales figures accordingly, sir.
Wow, those were some amazing presentations. Sir, do you want to ask something else?
No, I'm good.
All right, sir. So may I stop sharing my screen?
Please do. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you so much, panel members.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome presentation, guys. I'm sure that our judges would have an extremely tough time deciding the winner among such innovative solutions. Now, I would request our judges to move to the breakout room to decide who would be the winner of Consultomania 2022. Logistics team, can you do the needful?
Yeah.
Guys, Consultomania is all about providing a taste of real life consulting problems to all our fellow MBA participants. And to ensure that we keep providing an enriching experience to our participants, we would need your support. I would request all of you to vote for OJAS on D2C and show some love for our event. The link is shared on the chat. Thanks a lot, guys. Another thing, guys, if you have any questions for our judges, do raise your hands so that I can get a head count and accommodate that.
Also, guys, we would love any kind of feedback that you might have for us.
I guess they are only eagerly waiting for the results.
So our judges are here. And now I would request our judges to declare the results of Consultomania 2022.
Sure. I think before we get into the results declaration, first of all, one couple of words from my side was that all 7 presentations were great. As someone who's working in this space, who's been consulting as well as in this Eevee space, I must say I was very pleasantly surprised by the depth of research and the sort of insights that all of you have delivered. I think fantastic work done by everyone. It wasn't an easy decision coming to the sort of winners, but good work done by everybody.
Yeah, I think when we were also looking at, so what we were looking at, I think when we also deliberated later on, I think all of the teams, I think, put in a lot of effort in terms of the deliberation also, right? In terms of getting what those numbers look like, why those numbers look like. And when you eventually also take a call within an organization, you first look at what is the market opportunity, right? Is that really a market opportunity? The kind of questions that I think the panel was asking people time and again. Do you think that a Tesla should actually get into it? So is it a real market opportunity at all or not? If it is a real market opportunity, is it a market opportunity which is worth winning, right? Should I even be investing time in terms of winning it? And if I should be investing time, do I have the capability to win in this market, right? So can I win in this market? So those are some of the elements, and I think all of you have put in a considerable amount of effort. I think a lot of number crunching went in. So good work, and very happy with what we've seen so far.
Yeah, and just a few words from my side also. So couple of things. I know all of this work are done on a very short notice, so you need to do a lot of work in very limited time and resources. But that's how the consulting industry also revolves, because you need to pull out a lot of details on a very short notice, and you need to convince the client whether to do it or not to do it. And few of the presentation, I was asking this question: is there an option of not doing it as well? So many a times we have to be clear that entry may not be the right option also. Sometimes not entering might make more sense. So these will be some of the nuances as you get into your consulting career and journey forward. You need to take these kind of decisions more and more often. So once again, great work done by all the teams. Yeah. So now, how do we make the announcement? Sriram, you want to do the honors?
Yeah, sure. I think I'll announce the runner-up. I think for the runner-up, we have team number 7 from IFT, the Silly Squids. So well done, guys. Good presentation. I think all 3 of us really appreciated the depth of work and the depth of insights that you brought to the table. So good job done.
Thank you, sir. It was really wonderful getting, getting questions on the presentation that we had created. We had to churn our minds on the spot. It was a really great experience, sir. And I would also like to thank the organizing committee for having such a smooth competition.
Sure.
Thank you.
Rajesh?
I'll go with the winner. Okay, great. So as Sriram was saying that we did a lot of deliberation. I think it was a pretty close call in the end, but team number 6, Rise and Shine from Goa Institute of Management, they have been adjudged as the winner. So congratulations to you guys. And as we were saying, a lot of work has been put into. It was evident on the presentation. A lot of assumptions and detailing also been made. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on winning the competition as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Like, we are really obliged to get this opportunity, and really we found new insights to learn. So thank you so much, everyone.
So I would like to congratulate all the finalists of Consultomania and wish that everyone has learned something in this exciting journey. We would like to extend our gratitude to our esteemed judges to take out time of their schedules for finals and sharing their valuable insights. Thank you, judges. This year Thank you. So this year in Consultomania, we saw firsthand the exciting talent, innovative and analytical thinking that our participants possessed. I wish you all kudos for that. To each and every national finalist, I want to tell you that there are two words that we at SPJIMR abide by: courage and heart. The meanings of these words are delved deep within each of us, and we always put in efforts to abide by these principles. We wish the same to you. It was our pleasure to host you today. We wish you all the best for all your future endeavors. We would like the winner and the runner-up to stay on the call. All other participants can drop off. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. And once again, many